This is episode 290, recorded October 16th, 2015. Packard pokes at concealed women in Playboy and concealed dildos in Texas. I want to thank Dawkins Dog from the chat room for this week's show title.
What time is it? It's Packard pokes at time. Hat? Check. Shirt? Check. Pants? Optional. Mug? Double check. Check us out at cafepress.com/PackardPokesAt where you can get all this great merchandise and more.
Do you like Packard Pokesat and want to hear it on demand and on the go? Download the free app today at Stitcher.com. Available on iOS, Android, Nook, and iPad.
This is Packard Pokesat, and I'm poking at your news. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another fine edition of Packard Pokesat. I am your immutable and unmutable host, Packard Sonic. And joining me from the far west coast is Connie, Practical Magic 9.
I'm a sparkly vampire.
Sparkly vampire.
Sparkle, sparkle.
Sparkle, sparkle. And also joining us from the far west coast is returning, well, kind of returning because this is actually his first debut on a live episode. But he's also from the west coast, is Chris.
Greetings.
Carlson. There it is, Chris Carlson. I apologize. I couldn't remember your last name from me. I get up in the mornings. I'm like, who the hell am I? So, oh yeah, I'm a working slob. So if I ever forget anybody's name, I apologize. I'm just terrible at remembering names. So anyway.
And you are who?
I have no idea anymore. I don't know. I'm just some schlub that got sat down in front of a microphone and camera and just decided to broadcast.
Oh boy.
It's going to be a good night.
I think so. I think so.
In Texas, there used to be a law on the books on how many certain items you could actually own, and that was a dildo. And up until 2008, you were only allowed up to 6 dildos because obscenity laws, which, you know, if you want to boil it down to, it's just certain blasphemy laws. But there's something that's going to be a change that's going to be coming out in Texas where they're going to be allowing open carry on people's hips or whatever, but that change is not coming until January 1st, 2016. And one of the places that's going to be affected is school campuses. I mean, like colleges and whatnot. And the students out there are not enjoying this new law that's not going into effect yet, but as I just mentioned, but the thing is that people walking around with guns on their hips in school, it just terrifies the fuck out of me. Being a parent who happens to have a child that is in a college, I don't want to see anybody have a gun on campus. Especially, you know, if you've been watching the news lately, there have been several incidents just within the last couple of months of people getting shot. But, hey, you know what? Let's stop them with a good guy with a gun, which never fucking works. Back in 2004, we'll go back a little bit on this. Back in 2004, several sex shops challenged Texas over the statute of how many dildos you can own, and you couldn't even sell them down there. So I guess everybody that had them had to buy them online. You were not allowed to, like I said, not allowed to own more than 6. I don't know how they were enforcing that. I mean, were they coming to random dildo inspection, knocking on your door? Do you have any dildos here? How many do you own? They're
registered.
Yeah, do you have to register these dildos? And now, what's interesting down there is the Texas gun laws. They have very simple gun laws down there. For example, assault weapons if you ask somebody down there if they're banned down there, and they're not. Texas abides by federal law, which at this time has no restrictions on so-called assault weapons, such as semi-automatic AR-15s, FAL, G3s, and HK-91 rifles. So you can have an assault weapon, but you can't have more than 6 dildos. Well, at least not till 2008. We're about 6 years ago now, at the time of this broadcast. But and there's no limit to how many magazines and how many bullets you can own, and you can do all that stuff. They have very simple gun laws because they think just because it's Texas, everybody should have a fucking gun, which is really crazy. I mean,
I think Texans might be a really good argument for being armed.
I think Texas is a good argument for birth control. I'm just saying. Connie, your thoughts?
I just have to correct you on one thing.
Okay.
The Senate Bill 11 is about concealed handgun license owners to carry a gun on campus.
Mm-hmm.
And actually there's penalties if you were to open carry. But they can, and the individual institutions of higher learning,
mm-hmm.
which, believe it or not, Texas has them, they have to decide how they'll be stored and whether or not, if the particular college wants to have any further restriction on it.
Mm.
But it's still a matter of there's going to be guns on campus. Students and I'm assuming faculty can have a concealed weapon, and I don't know. I wouldn't feel safer. And it doesn't even have to be that you get some kid with a grudge, which obviously, some person with a grudge and there's a gun and, you have that 10-cent solution right there in your hand. Even the idea that somebody might try to use their gun to thwart somebody else is rather nerve-wracking, because in the confusion of an actual situation like what happened in Oregon a couple weeks ago, you have a shooter. Once the bullet leaves the gun, you really don't have any control over where it goes. You don't have a control over the situation. Somebody else might be inadvertently hurt and or get a hold of it. So,
well, actually,
yeah. But dildos are bad.
Yeah, but dildos are bad. They have the obscenity laws. Actually, that's where I got this thing about the open carry thing here is from TexasGunLaws.org. And it says here, it asks, the question is, can you strap a gun to your hip? And it says, no, with some exceptions. Open carry is not legal in Texas until January 1st, 2016, but you may open carry on your own property in the commission of sporting activity, competition, shooting, ranges, and etc. while engaged in hunting, and while engaged in hunting. Yeah. But so coming to January 1st, open carry is going to be allowed in Texas.
Right.
So this is so bizarre. I mean, they even have one about, can I carry a firearm in my vehicle? It's like, well, yeah, that's one of the things you can carry it. I was like, I knew this guy years ago. He was kind of a crazy guy. I work with a lot of crazy people. He said that when he goes out driving around or whatever, he usually has a handgun, sitting on the seat next to him. So I said, well, what happens if you get pulled over by a cop? He goes, well, I have it sitting right there. They don't know that if it's sitting right there, it's safe. I'm like, what are you fucking talking about? If a cop sees a gun sitting on a seat, do you think he's going to go, oh, I see you have a gun sitting on a seat. Everything's cool. Are you kidding me? First thing he's going to do is draw his weapon on you and say, here, you get out of the fucking car, you make a move, either the one way or the other, I will fucking blow your ass away.
Yeah. Well, I did. Some of the conversations I've been having with people from Facebook, their argument for why we should all be able to have any kind of weapon that we want is the government owns all those weapons. And I was sort of just gobstopped. I couldn't believe I was hearing it.
Yeah.
And that's the argument. And they say, well, we don't want a tyrannical government. And the minute that they take away our guns, the minute that we have to register absolutely everything.
Yeah, that's what they claim.
Then the government's going to it's going to be Hitler all over again.
Oh,
Yeah, it was a very discouraging week for me.
yeah,
I couldn't believe I encountered that level of
ignorance.
Yeah, and fear.
Yeah. From the chat room, Dawkins Dog said, "What about semi-automatic dildos?"
Doesn't that tell you something that the Texans are intimidated by dildos, but not guns?
You have a dildo! Ah! Run in horror!
There's such a thing as called consent that, should...
Yeah, Torvin from the chat room said, "What about pocket rocket sex toys? She's armed and aroused." Chris,
maybe that's why they're so angry.
Yeah, they're not. Yeah, that's just like over. If you look at the Middle East, for example, those people over there are always angry. Why? They're not allowed to have sex toys or anything like that. If those people had access to sex toys, I think they'd be a little bit calmer. Maybe get a couple more orgasms in there. I'm just saying. Just get a couple more in there. Chris, your thoughts?
No comment on it.
Okay, you get one. You get one, no comment.
He's pulling that card.
He's pulling the no comment card early today.
It starts. Yep.
The protest from the students, though, on campus of the University of Texas that want to have everybody. Actually, now that was the discrepancy because the ruling for the campus gun thing is supposed to be concealed, right?
Yeah.
But they want to open carry dildos and like backpacks and things like that, and they have their own hashtag, Cocks Not Glocks.
Yes.
And, to fight against the persistent myth of the good guy with a gun. So, I don't know. I really hope that, students aren't fined and arrested.
Yeah, because it's a $500 fine if you display a dildo. But it's okay if you want to display a gun. Yeah, it's okay. Display a dildo. Oh, no, you might have something fun with that. One of the
idea of what's obscene is really ironic.
It is. It really is. There was one quote here. Compared to gun laws, Jen writes, I don't know who Jen is, this person that's on Facebook. They wrote on their Facebook page, quote, "Just as effective as protecting us from a sociopath shooters, but much safer for recreational play."
University of Texas alumna Jessica Jin is the one.
Jessica Jin, okay.
Yeah, that's her last name. She's the one who's promoting this protest.
Okay.
Which will happen. The concealed carry will be next fall. August 2016 is when that law comes into effect, and so that's when the protest will actually happen. So
yeah,
keep our eyes peeled and
your dildo's ready.
I don't know. Instead of flicking a bic, people don't do that anymore. Actually, people use cell phones at concerts, so that's
true. Yeah, well, I actually used to have an app on my phone. I used to have an app on my phone where it would make a little lighter, and you could actually flick it open, and it's yay.
That's actually pretty cool.
I gotta find it, put it back on this phone.
Only in the heart of Texas there.
Yeah, only in the heart of Texas.
Yeah, man, I'll tell you what, that dang old internet, man, you just go on there and point and click, get in there, talk about www.com, you got them naked chicks on there, man, you go click, 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 it's real easy, man.
Back when the internet was new, porn was not really a big thing. It was very difficult to find. And what was easy to find was you go down to the local gas station or you go to any bookshop and you could buy a porno mag. And the most recognized porno mags out there was Playboy, the iconic Playboy bunny. It's right up there with Nike and Apple computers. You show somebody one of those three things, they're going to go, oh, yeah, that's Nike. Oh, yeah, that's Apple. Oh, yeah, that's Playboy. And Playboy always stood for, sex and sexuality. It's been around since the 1950s, I do believe. But now they've come to a point where they are going to stop taking pictures of naked women and put it in magazines to sell out on the racks. And the old joke used to be, oh, I just buy it for the articles.
Are you saying my father was a liar?
Yes. But now, if he said that when they decide to do this here, they are going to remove all nudity from the Playboy magazines. Now, the reason why is because sales have been going down because internet porn is pretty much everywhere. I can list at least half a dozen sites just thinking about it, or you just go into type into your Google and type in free nude women, men, whatever you're into, and you can find that all that shit for free and not spend a dime. So the fact is of having to spend money for a magazine, which you have to physically have in your hand, and stuff it away so someone, your significant other or your friends come over and go, oh, hey, look at that porno stash. Oh, I see what you're doing at home during you're off of work, Because it's so easy to close out a tab on a web browser and erase the history, so nobody else knows that you're visiting these type of sites. I think it's a good step for Playboy because they are actually taking innovation to step away from that and be more progressive on this. And they said that they didn't think that, if they just if we put some scantily clad women in there basically and just kind of cover them up just a little bit, then that will be appeasing to some of these people who have accused them of exploiting women. And it's really not like that. These women are not exploited, okay? They are paid a shit ton of money to take off their clothes. I mean, if someone were to ask me to take off my clothes, not that anybody would. I mean, I have to shut off the light at night just for myself. Nobody wants to see that. Not even me. But if they wanted to pay me that kind of money to do that, hell, I'd take it up, and I wouldn't feel exploited. I'd be going, oh, exploited all the way to the bank with this big ass chick. Connie, your thoughts?
Well, except for there's still a stigma.
Yeah, there is, but that's
attached to for women, especially because we have slut shaming to posing. So there's a lot of women who've gone on to lose their careers or be kicked out of college over the years who've appeared in Playboy spreads. And, they're not doing totally away with the photography, but it's going to be PG-13. But this is also, it's not just the availability, the massive availability of porn. I was noticing in an article from 2013, it's not just print, it's also DVDs and movies.
Oh, yeah.
That are experiencing a struggle with the death of movie rental places and the availability of internet and Instagram and people taking pictures and filming themselves. It's just they're struggling to find their place. But you know what? I mean, the fact is that sex always has sold. It's always been one of the motivating things in art for centuries. When you look at photography, some of the first two things that were filmed with photography were nudes and horror movies. It's funny that there's these things these tropes that have always been around. But again, print media, newspapers and magazines are experiencing a real shift and a loss of readership, and so it's really good of Playboy to go ahead, like I said, and actually I think it's more progressive too, to also maybe not totally objectify the women and trying to be I don't know if you'd call him an advocate for women's rights, but equality and sexuality.
Yeah.
And I know people make fun of it about the articles, but the fact is that they are reviews, and they're still, and this is something that they're trying to go ahead and just fill in more. They had reviews of electronics and music and movies, and they actually have had quite a lot of really good writers for Playboy over the years, and it's not just the pictures, but that's what I'm sure most young men all remember when they were first introduced to it. But so interesting. We're seeing an evolution of this magazine. It's been long-standing. Marilyn Monroe graced their first cover, and that's pretty iconic. So
yes. Dawkins Dog from the chat room said Playboy was always fairly tame anyways. So I've heard. But in actuality, he's actually quite correct, because there was a lot of other ones like Maxim and Hustler, and those ones were way more explicit. I mean, they would do things that I'm like, oh, wow. I mean, I'm not a doctor, but I think I could give you an exam. Just saying.
I think you just did.
I just did. I just opened the page. I've given this woman an exam. So, but those magazines, they thought, okay, this is the answer we need, is to go more explicit, not less. And they just never recovered from that experience.
They failed.
Yeah, it was a big fail.
There's a reason that genre of magazines has its niche. That's really the stuff that's under the counter and it's hidden, and it's not, because Playboy, for all that everybody talks about it, is very mainstream.
Yeah.
It's sort of like Cosmo, to be honest.
There was actually some good articles in there. Torvin from the chat room here said, my wife bought me a Playboy once years ago. It has 2 picture spreads, 90% articles, and ads. And actually, you know what? My ex-wife, a number of years ago, bought me one time. It was just, I think it was my birthday or something. I guess that was my birthday gift. Sad day for me. No. But there was only it was about that, 2 or 3 pictures in there, and the rest was articles and ads and whatnot. But over the years, they did actually have some recent really good articles that were actually in there. But the nude pictures that were in there were done, I thought, fairly tastefully. Chris, your thoughts?
Good play on Playboy. The whole switching, the taking the pictures out are definitely going to help them with the business. It has to grow and change. Mm-hmm. So I'm actually kind of looking forward to this.
Do you have anything else you want to say on that?
No, not really.
Oh,
just
that's a really
short
good
and simple.
Point, though.
Okay, short, simple, to the point. Okay, very good.
Building a better future, science and technology.
One of the things that we have available to us is a little portable hard drive, and these are called thumb drives, commonly known as that. You can get them in a variety of different shapes, styles, and things like that. Like, this was given to me as a gift. This is a little transformer. It doesn't look like much, but it's actually a thumb drive as well. And the little legs come down. You can make it stand up and do all kinds of little neat things with it, I suppose, if you wanted to play with it. And the drives are actually quite large in size, so you could actually use them for an external hard drive that you can just swap out. You don't need one of these big-ass ones sitting on your desk like the ones I've got. I need that kind of storage. But the thing is, though, sometimes, because these are so readily available, people, what they will do is they will load a bunch of them up with, like, website addresses or whatever, and then they will just go, like, out to the park and just toss them out. And, like, hopefully some unwilling person or unknowing person will go, hey, someone dropped a thumb drive. Oh, I bet you I find somebody's porn stash or something on there. That poor slob. Ha, 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 ha. So I'm going to take it home and shove it in my computer, and I'm going to see what's on there. And a lot of times, people would get viruses and whatnot on there, little scripts that will open up the back door to their computer so hackers can come in and do all kinds of malicious things. That one of the main rules is there, if you see a thumb drive, just walk away. Now I have another good reason why you should, if you see a thumb drive, to walk away. A British researcher who goes by the nickname Deep Purple. Why he came up with the name Deep Purple, I'm just thinking maybe something got smashed somewhere. He probably smashed a thumb. He created a thumb drive that was even more dangerous than a drive that has viruses on it. Inside thumb drives, they have little capacitors in there. And he's able to rig one up so that way, instead of being able to access the data, it builds up a charge that the computer itself is supplying to the thumb drive and then feeding it back to the computer. And in a matter of just a few moments, it will fry out the computer's motherboard. And if it's left in there too long, it can fry out pretty much everything that's on the system, with the exception of the hard drive itself. And this is terrifying. So if you're out there and you're walking around and you see a thumb drive, fucking walk away. Not just because it might have somebody's data on there. Okay, that's a possibility. But somebody out there might be so malicious that they want to fuck with your computer to such a degree that they don't care if what they've done is fried out your system. Just don't do it. Stay with people who sell these things like at the store. Go and buy one. Don't pick one up off the ground. Kind of your thoughts.
Can this be my pass? You know, I was talking about this with my son Alex. I said, why would somebody do this? He says, you know why? Just to mess with people. I'm like, it blew my mind. I can't believe somebody would. I'm like, what would be the application for this? You know, what, you're, instead of having an EMP, you break into the bad guy's place and you fry his computer. And I went to the creator's website. This guy, I guess his name is Deep Purple.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's people saying, how do you make this? Where can I get it?
Oh my gosh.
You're all really terrible, awful people.
Yeah.
That's scary. So I'm not really very tech savvy, and I just don't think I'm that vindictive. I would rather eat, you know, if I have a problem with somebody, I just say, you're kind of a jerk, you know. I wouldn't ruin their computer. Or a random stranger.
Yeah.
That's weird. So that's all I have to say about that. To quote Forrest Gump.
That's all I gotta say about that.
Yeah.
I can't imagine wanting to do something like this. I mean, to me, it just seems so malicious that some people have nothing better to do than to fuck with people.
It's very frightening.
It is.
It is, yeah.
God. Yeah. Chris, your thoughts?
I've heard of a USB that when you plug it in, it kind of changes like what you're typing on a keyboard. It was from this like joke shop, but this right here, this is just evil. I mean, who does this?
I would say
13-year-old in his basement, probably.
Yeah, I wouldn't say evil because we covered that last week. Because some people might think this is a good thing. The only reason I can see an application like this is if you're in the fucking spy business and you want to blow up the person's computer so they don't have access to the data. You don't have to sit there and riddle it with gun bullets. You know, I just stick in the drive, blow up their computer. Done in a few seconds.
Yeah. I don't know about you, but my, double life isn't 007, so it's very, very minimal market here.
I like Connie said that, like, there's people out there who are looking to try to figure out how to do this, and they're asking, hey, how do you do this? I mean, I don't want to know this. I wouldn't want to know this information. Mm-hmm. Some people do. They have a grudge out against somebody. Hey, boss, I found your thumb drive. Oh, okay, or swap it out. You know, that's a hilarious prank. Hey, swap out the boss's portable thumb drive. Okay, blow up his computer. That'd be fucking terrifying.
I know.
Yeah.
Anyone have any last thoughts on this?
Just Torvarin in the chat room says people can take these to public computer places and destroy computers.
Yeah, that would be terrifying.
Took this to like a library or something?
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, that'd be terrible because there are a lot of people out there who don't have access to a regular computer, and if you go in there and like fry every fucking computer that's there, move from computer to computer, and then fry them all, then you're wasting public resources then.
Yeah.
Some people, I'd imagine there are some technophobes out there who probably would do something like this just to keep people off the internet, or try to anyway.
The Amish's greatest weapon.
With this and my fuzzy beard, I shall bring them all back to our way of thinking.
We can only be reassured, though, that the Amish can only go as fast as their horse-drawn buggies go. So they won't be boarding any planes anytime soon.
Right. Well, nothing suspicious about an Amish guy sitting down at a computer.
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute. What's wrong with this picture? Maybe he's a Mennonite. I don't know. I don't see them here at the library that often. Tarvin also mentioned this. How about places that have computers on display and up and running? Yeah. Oh, could you imagine what you could do at, like, say, an Apple store or any computer store? You walk in there, bink, 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 and you've wiped out everything that's on the computer. It's like, hey, this computer's not working. What's wrong with this? I don't know. You could destroy thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars in just a few moments. I would never recommend anybody doing this.
We're talking about this story now because, like, if somebody randomly got a hold, anybody. Anyway.
Yeah.
God, this is creepy.
It is creepy. It is creepy.
It makes me so mad. I want to throw a hammer.
I can't move. What's going on? You were foolish to take on the essence of Mjolnir, mortal. The hammer's power is not yours to control. It is mine.
Thor is an interesting character. They have him on Marvel Comics. They have Thor with his, weird-ass hat with the lightning bolts on it. He almost kind of looks like Mercury. I'm just saying that's what it kind of looks like to me. A little bit, anyway. And he always carries this big-ass hammer that only the righteous, or the ones that are most worthy, I should say, are allowed to handle. And there's only a few times that other people have actually been able to pick up Mjolnir. But those people are extremely strong, or for whatever reason, they were worthy. In the last Marvel movie, spoiler alert, there was a character that was created who was able to pick up Mjolnir as well. A guy out in California actually has built a replica of Mjolnir and got it set up so nobody can pick it up but him. But the trick is, and there's always a trick, it's got magnets in it. It's got an electromagnet from a microwave built into the top of the hammer, or the bottom of the hammer, rather, I should say. And there's a thumbprint scanner on the handle. So he has to put his thumb on there, and then he can lift it up like, oh, look at this. I must be worthy. And he puts it down on a metal surface and challenges people. There's a great video on this. Challenges people to go and try to pick this thing up. Now, one person was able to succeed, but I'm not going to tell you how he did it. Kind of your thoughts.
It's interesting. I went and looked. Well, first of all, I love a good cosplay. I love a good, but this goes the extra mile. It not only looks like Mjolnir, it has this quality about it. Big ass magnet. Mm-hmm. Just a lot of fun. But so I looked it up, and there's more than just these 5, but in the comics, Captain America twice was able to pick up Mjolnir. In issue number 390 and number 7. 390 goes back to 88, and number 7 goes back to 2011. And in a What If comic with Conan, volume 39, Conan was able to pick it up, and the Hulk and the Avengers Assemble in 2012, Magneto and the Ultimates in 2008, and Wonder Woman in a Marvel versus DC World in 96. I don't know.
Don't forget the Incredible Hulk picked it up one time too.
That's what I said. The Hulk and the Avengers Assemble in 2012, issue number 4. Mm-hmm. So in the movie too, I love when everybody's trying to pick up the hammer in the second Avengers movie. Captain America walks up to it, and I go, oh, if anybody's worthy, because he's such a ultimate Boy Scout. Love Captain America. And Thor's sitting there like, ha ha ha, nobody can pick this up, right? And Captain America makes it budge. And Thor's face kind of falls for a second.
I saw that. I remember seeing that. Like, huh? He made it move a little bit.
Oh goodness, yeah. The film of everybody trying to lift it is really funny.
Yeah, it's a great comedy bit in itself. It's an interesting little trope in there, I guess. You know, it's like, don't pick up Mjolnir. Oh, you're not worthy. You're not as good as me.
But was Thor good? I don't know.
Thor has problems. I'm just saying. I don't know how good he is because sometimes Thor has problems. He's a little bit of, big of an asshole sometimes.
Being a god does that to
True.
people.
Chris, your thoughts?
This thing is cool. I wish more people would, go out and do more things like this, add more diversity into the world.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering what this guy, uses to cook his food with if he had to take apart his microwave for the magnet.
You can pick one up for $30, just saying.
Yeah.
It's a replica. It's worth it, Chris.
Yes.
I would love to have one of these myself. Just go out and it's like, bet you $1 you can't pick this up. Okay. Fuck.
Make your money back in no time.
Fuck yeah.
By the way, Chris, you and Alex cannot take my microwave apart to make a
Chris is going, damn, my plan's been foiled.
I've just created an evil supervillain team. They're going to thwart me.
Dawkins want to know if they cut the guy's thumb off at the end. I was like, no, I'm not telling you.
Oh my god.
Oh.
That would probably work. I don't know, but it'd be covered in blood. I guess you'd have to carry around a clean sack. Wash it off. If they cut the guy's thumb off, pick his hammer up, that'd be a pretty shitty magic trick. I'm just saying. Or you're a fake whatever. It's not. Well, it's not really magic. It's science. So it's a science trick. Science.
I say.
Chris, did you have any other additional thoughts on that?
No.
Okay.
We grossed him out with the thought.
We crossed him out with a thumb.
Me too, actually.
Way to go, Dawkins. Way to go, Dawkins. Speaking of grossed out, we got a commercial we need to play. It's not gross, but but we do need to play it for you, and we'll be back here in just a moment.
Contact us by email at ppappodcast@gmail.com or on Twitter as @PackardPokesat. Like us on Facebook.com/PackardPokesat. Call our Google Voice and leave a message at 662-709-PPAP or 662-709-7727, and we will respond to it on the show. Friday nights at 9 p.m. Central Time. Join us live at vonlive.tv/PackardPokesat. During the show, you can share your thoughts with us by calling 857-216-3200 using PIN number 35368 or on uberconference.com/PackardPokesat. For links to the stories, visit our show page at packardpokesat.wordpress.com. You can help support the show by purchasing merchandise from cafepress.com/PackardPokesat or make a donation to the show at patreon.com/PackardPokesat. If you can't afford any money, why not share the show with your friends and rate us on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Spreaker, and on YouTube. For everyone that shares and rates us,
You kick ass.
What if there's a really bad, crummy guy who's going to jail, but I know he's innocent?
Well, Bart, your Uncle Arthur used to have a saying. Shoot 'em all and let God sort 'em out. Unfortunately, one day he put his theory into practice. It took 75 federal marshals to bring him down. Now let's never speak of him again.
Out in New York, in New Hartford, a cult church, well, I think all religions are cults, but that's my opinion, that the Word of Life Church a counseling session was set up for this parents' teenage brothers were brutally beaten in their church, and one of them was killed. In an effort by their parents and sister and members of the congregation were to force them to confess their sins and seek forgiveness, police said this last Wednesday. First of all, sin is an imaginary thing. It's not real. I see people on Facebook all the time saying, you know, if people didn't sin this, sin that. You know what? Take your fucking sin concept and shove it firmly up your fucking ass. Because people like this are killing people over the fucking concept of sin. What they did here is they not only just beat them, they kicked them in their genitals and beat them in the chest and whatever and said, you got to confess your sins. You got to confess your sins. You know, if someone starts beating on me, hey, I tell you where the hell I keep my money. You know, I give you the number of my bank account. I'll give you anything you want. Just stop fucking hitting me. But the whole concept of beating the sin out of somebody or forcing someone to confess something, I don't know what sin they were looking for. Maybe they were trying to find out if they were touching themselves, which some people consider a sin. And these people, Bruce and Deborah Leonard, were charged with manslaughter in their son Lucas's death, and 4 other adults were also charged with the assault of the younger brother's beating, including Sarah Ferguson, age 33, the victim's sister. They've all pled not guilty. Now, I personally, I hope they are found guilty, and I hope all of them go away for a very long time. People always wonder why atheists are so angry about religion. Fucking this is just one of many examples why we are fucking fed up with people and their fucking bullshit religions. Connie, your thoughts?
This is a developing story, and today the parents, Bruce and Deborah, and the 4 other people who were arrested were arraigned. Maybe it was just the parents. Evidently, when the one son that was killed was admitted to the hospital, they thought he'd been shot.
Mm-hmm.
And the father, Bruce, was in his deposition or his court appearance today, it was revealed that he tried to tell the emergency room that his son had been molesting children in that church, and that was why he was treated as such. There's a rumor, as it is just rumor right now, that the two boys were asking to leave the church, and that might be what spurred the counseling session, quote unquote. And this is a very secretive church.
Yes.
It's one that's built hedges. It's one that's shut itself off from the community. And granted, I think that all the neighbors are way too, trying to looky-loo everything. But when, church, most of the children within the church are homeschooled. It's very secretive. People actually live because the church itself physically is an old elementary school. This is exactly the kind of situations where abuse tends to occur.
Yeah.
And I have to say that I've been to a couple of different websites, and sometimes the chat rooms, you get people joining in, and of course we've got the No True Scotsman floating around.
Mm-hmm.
People saying, well, this isn't how a real Christian behaves. And somebody even was so bold as to say the Bible doesn't say that you should beat your child or kill your child if they disobey you. I've looked and I didn't find it. And Leviticus, I think it's 20 verse 9.
Yeah.
I don't know. And I said, really? I found it.
Yeah,
no.
It basically says if the child's a drunkard or whatever, if you disobey your parents, then they have the children should be stoned to death.
Yeah, and it's I said, look, just don't do that, because it's very ignorant of you to not even know your own Bible, and just because the Bible in one place talks about love and peace and butterflies, and in another place says something totally different.
Yeah.
Don't dismiss it, because you're cherry picking. And it's this. But back to this main story.
Right.
Yeah, they're trying to get the mom off because she's saying that, they're saying, she's just basically so kowtowed that she couldn't have hurt these kids in any way, and this is a real mess.
Yeah.
And and it's very, very sad and unfortunate. It looks like the one son, Lucas, who was killed, obviously that's over with. The son, Christopher, he's still in the hospital. He should be able to recover. They also took into protective custody the 7 children that were there, 4 of which were from their half-sister. The mother, Deborah, a child from a previous relationship. So anyway, they had to get special court orders to enter this building, and hopefully they'll be able to shut this down. But
yeah, I hope so too. Now, what's interesting is that a woman, Nancy, by the name of Nancy Keller, who works at a Catholic church next door to the Word of Life church, described the congregation as a close-knit group. And she quoted, "It's really sad. I think that people have always been so suspicious. Why are they so secretive? Why are there no kids out playing?" She said, "Still, I think there are good people that made a bad decision." Yeah, you made a real bad decision. You joined a cult. That's a bad decision. Just for a second here, you got one cult pointing to another cult, saying, "Oh, that's the bad cult." They're probably doing the same thing to you, saying, "Well, you're just too open. You're too cult-like." And a lot of people that I know that are still steeped in religion, they look at the Catholic Church and go, "Oh, yeah, the Catholic Church is a cult." You're fucking all cults, man. You're all fucking cults. I don't care what fucking religion you're following. You're following a cult. Chris, your thoughts?
A cult is a cult, no matter which way you look at it.
Yeah.
What's the difference between a cult and a church, though? Or
better parking. Actually,
make this story a little happier.
Yeah, well, the thing is, though, the thing is, the difference between a cult and a church is that religions are state-sanctioned cults, basically. They get tax breaks and things like that. It's like, okay, you're a man of God. Okay, we'll give you a tax break so you can go and build a mega church and not have to pay taxes for the rest of your life. I think that's the only difference between the cult and religion. That's in my opinion, and of course the better parking.
Yes.
And you can't swing a dead cat without hitting a church pretty much anywhere. I mean, I've got several around me. I've never felt safer. Not. Karen from the chat room said, "I think the difference between a cult and a religion is a cult pulls a bait and switch while a religion puts everything forward." Actually, no. I think they both do the same thing there, Karen. They both do a bait and switch. I mean, they say, "Oh, everything's all happy and joy here." Oh, wait a minute, you can't do this. By the way, if you want to believe in what we believe, you can't do this. Oh, you like bacon? You can't have bacon anymore. You like to have coffee? Can't have coffee anymore. It's no bait and switch for the cults. They're all doing the bait and switch.
I love what Tovarin said. I saw a meme that said a cult is an unpopular religion. A religion is a popular cult.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
I guess I tend to think that maybe a cult is more secretive. The more secretive that something is, the more cultish it appears, I suppose. I don't know.
Not to be completely disagree with you there, but the first Christian religions, when they first started out, they were also very secretive as well. They actually had they do little certain hand gestures to let you know who was in the cult and who was not. See, all cults have a starting somewhere. They're usually in someone's basement or at the hovel, wherever in the Middle East somewhere. Where they first start out. So they all start out small groups, and then they all let's go out and recruit and get more people to believe our brand of bullshit until they become much larger.
There's where cults have to evolve somehow, or in their message is if they want to appeal to a broader base, they have to somehow open it up a bit. And it's still about being exclusive. It's still about being a club.
Right.
But like I said, it's how much they totally separate themselves from the rest of society in what ways they do. But I have to agree with what you're saying. It's like, every religion probably starts out as a cult.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's basically it. They've all started out as a cult at some point. It's just a matter of which one have the better sales pitch. So You can't eat meat on Friday. Well, fuck you. I'm going to go and eat some. I'll go somewhere else where I can eat meat.
I'm thinking about Jim Gaffigan. Well, you can't have sex outside of marriage. Okay, you can't eat bacon. Wait, what? I'm in the wrong line.
Don't know much about history. Don't know much biology. Don't know much about a science book.
You know, the one thing about school is you go there to learn. And I am so proud of these people at this particular school over in Salem Heights, Oregon. Had a minister from the Jesus Christ of Nazareth come over and was trying to preach to these children at lunchtime. And some of the people were like, what are you doing here, basically? They're like, we don't want to hear this. We want to sit down and eat our lunch. And then apparently one person said to him, he was like, oh, you believe in Jesus? Is like, who's Jesus? So he started calling people who didn't believe in God or didn't know who Jesus was. He started calling them stupid and evil. I'm like, first off, and I covered this a while back, the word evil is a man-made construct, just like the word sin is. And we kind of mentioned that last week as well. The fact is, what I've never really understood about religion is, especially the Christian religion, they say, if you don't accept God, you can't go to Juju, Magic, Sky Wizard land. But if you don't know about it, it's not really a big deal because you didn't know. So I'm sitting there and go, then why are you fucking telling me about something I didn't want to know? I didn't know anything about. Now I'm going to go to an imaginary hell that you think I'm going to go to because now I don't accept your magic juju.
Psych.
Like, yeah, exactly. It's like, gotcha. Now you're going to burn. That's an asshole move. It's like, oh, I know you weren't going to burn before, but now that you know and you don't accept what my magic juju, now you're going to burn. Oh, well, fuck, thanks a lot. Kind of your thoughts.
Not to be overly correcting you, but
yeah,
the
I know.
church that the guy is from is the Salem Heights Baptist Church.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just reading it's in the church of Jesus Christ at the top.
Opening line of
I apologize.
And he was a volunteer. Evidently, the school likes to get volunteers from the community, from parents and people to monitor the lunchroom, help it, encourage kids to keep it clean and pick it up and be there to, I guess if there's disputes, I don't know, food fight breaks out. But this Tim
There's a religion I would join. The food fight religion.
Yay. Tim Safiels is a youth minister and director of student ministries from said Baptist church. And yeah, I have to agree with the article here because we're obviously injecting a lot here because we don't exactly know. Because the Tim Safiels, I don't know if he's actually a youth pastor or a minister, but he's trying to claim that what these young atheist girls are claiming is false. Because he sat down to a table at lunch with somebody who was from his church, and they were talking about religion, and these two girls came down, they sat down and they said, well, what's Jesus, right? He claims that they initiated the conversation. They initiated the question, and so he was responding to their question and telling them who Jesus was. But, the girls actually wrote a very detailed letter to the district and to the principal and said, look, this man told us that we were evil for being, atheists were evil, and if you don't have faith, it's wrong, it's bad, it's bad, wrong, and stupid, right? Mm-hmm. So that's what Tim Safiels, is denying, that this conversation happened. So it's very much a he said, she said between these two young atheists, ages like 13 and 15, and this grown man. And the school district, in a really awesome move, they told him, said, look, you weren't supposed to engage kids in discussions about religion. It's just, that's not supposed to happen. Right. If somebody has questions about that, you're supposed to defer it to their pastor or their parents or somebody else, but you're not supposed to, on school grounds, do this. So kudos to Salem Heights, Oregon, principal of this middle school, and to these girls. They might have been making this bigger. We don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm really glad that the school is deciding to keep that ground, because these are the very same laws that protect Mr. Tim Safiels as a youth minister and protect religious rights. This is the flip side of it. So you don't get to proselytize on school grounds.
Yeah, imagine having a Muslim doing the same thing. You know how many people would be flipping the fuck out? Oh my God, they're teaching our kids Islam. Oh my God, they're gonna go join ISIS. Whatever, The letter that you mentioned here is on the page. It says, and I'm gonna read a small excerpt from it. It says, "Dear Mrs. Perez, my name is Shelby Conway, and I am 14 years old. I am an 8th grader at Straub. Today at lunch, our table was approached by a youth pastor who was from a Christian church in South Salem. He then proceeded to preach to our entire table, several of whom are not Christian. When he finished, he asked us for our religious beliefs. I replied that I am an atheist, which I am, and I am very firm in my beliefs, and that he should not try to convince me otherwise." Just a point of contention here. Atheism isn't a belief; it's actually just a lack of belief. But I understand where she's coming from on this point. Just for what she was saying here, he began insulting me, my beliefs, and my intelligence, saying that any logical person would see that atheism is wrong, and tell me that I am too young to choose this belief, and saying that he believes I am simply trying to rebel. Okay, if you're too young to choose to, well, you actually don't choose to be an atheist. Atheism is the default position. Another point of contention there. But if somebody were to say that you're too young to choose to be an atheist, then why are you not too young to choose to be a religious nut job? I mean, people bring their kids to their church. It's like, oh, they don't get to choose that. It's pretty much forced on them at that point. But I agree with her. This person should not have been there proselytizing to the students there. And I'm glad that this school stood up and said, "Hey, you know what? You shouldn't be doing this. So you're not allowed on school grounds anymore." I hope they don't let this guy ever on school grounds for anything. I don't care if the school's on fire and he's going to go and try to rescue people. Fucking stay out. You'd probably be preaching on him. I was like, "Oh, God gave me the power to the strength to save you."
You've been watching that movie that we were supposed to be watching, right?
Actually, I actually haven't watched that one yet. But
it's a very well written letter.
Yes, it is.
It is by this young person, and I'm hoping they suss it out.
Yes, I hope it is too. Yeah. Chris, your thoughts?
If I remember correctly, back when I was in high school, my school kind of did something similar to this.
Really?
So it was during closer to the summer weeks, and the school promoted this after school free ice cream thing, go to room 111. I walk in the door and here it is, they hand out ice cream, but all of a sudden the guy standing in the front of the classroom goes, "Okay, everybody fold your hands, we're going into prayer." And I was like, nope. They sneak these things in almost.
Yeah. From the chat room, Karin3323 said, "No, the default position is I don't know." No, that's the default position on agnosticism, not atheism. Atheism is the simple rejection of a deity of any kind. It's like, I don't believe in a deity. That's the default position. So if you don't know, that's agnostic. If you have, I know that there's a Burger King down the street from me, I'm gnostic about that. So agnosticism is just a subset of knowledge, and Gnosticism and Gnostic means you know, and agnostic means you don't know. For example, I'm an agnostic atheist. Is there a God out there? I don't know, but I'm not going to go and claim, unless I really want to piss somebody off just for shits and giggles. I will not claim that there is no God, because I don't know. There might be. He might be on the other end of the universe whacking his dick, but I don't know. But the likelihood of there being a God is not proven. Did anybody else have any last thoughts on this?
Chris, so That was an after-school thing with the ice cream?
Yeah.
Interesting, because I've seen a similar tactic taken with sports teams, where they have the watermelon trucks coming out, and they pray first. And our Bethel school district was okay with that.
Yeah, but I don't even know if the school really was okay with it, because the guy that told me about it, he was, I think, just like a volunteer person, and he was cleaning the lunchroom, and he comes up to me and says, "Hey, do you like ice cream? Join us after school, fun times." And I was like, So, yeah, I don't even know if the school was aware of it, technically.
What gets me about that, Chris, is that's deception.
It is. Mm-hmm. There's the bait and switch we talked about.
And, of all things, I would think that religion, especially these religions that want to claim the higher moral ground, honesty would be the first thing. They should be up front, and they should be open, and kind of tie it back in, because I'm looking at the letter here. Evidently, this youth pastor in Oregon, he didn't identify himself. He wasn't, according to the girl here, he wasn't going to give them his name. And I'm not sure if that's true, because it seems to me if you're a volunteer at the school, you should probably have a name tag or some other identifier. But if that's I just don't understand the deception, the inviting teens to go out for a movie night and then ambushing them with. That's
exactly the reason why they bait and switch them. It's like, oh well, we're gonna do this little thing here. You can come for pizza, from ice cream, whatever. Draw them in, because they know that children like pizza and ice cream, and they say, well, but before we do this, we're gonna pray. And if you get enough people in one area, it's all about the peer pressure. It's like, oh well, my friends are doing this, so I guess I should too. I
want to make this really brief.
Sure.
All right, but we can't even ask children to enter into a contract. You can't sign a contract until after the age of 18. Why are we proselytizing children with religion?
Exactly.
And especially with this whole idea, it's so important because this is where they spend eternity. And I'm like, to me, I used to be in it, but I really reject that idea now. And we shouldn't be trying to form the young minds. We should, if you really want to be about choice. If religion is about choice, then why are we indoctrinating children?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Anyway. It's the Onion Radio News.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't.
There's this great app you can get for free if you want to. It's called Periscope. It works with Twitter. You can put it on your iPhone, your iPad, or whatever. And we actually use it here on the show on Wednesdays. We do our live staff meeting. Broadcasts are public, and you can come and watch them at 5 o'clock on Wednesdays. But the nice thing is that it's free. However, there's a thing that you don't want to do with it. Broadcast to the world that you're drinking and driving. Down in Lakeland, Florida, the police arrested a woman by the name of Whitley Bale Friday night after receiving several 911 calls from Periscope viewers reporting that a drunken driver was using the app to broadcast herself. Now, police said the viewers told that she was fucking drunk, and I didn't know where she was. At one point, she said she had a flat tire, according to Fox13.com. Thanks to numerous 911 calls, officers were able to track down her Toyota Corolla. Now, the police department are forbidden by law or policy to put these apps on company equipment. So if they had like a company cell phone or smartphone or whatever, they couldn't have put it on there. So one of the officers was able to put it onto his own personal phone and follow the stream there, and was able to start recognizing where she was so he could go out and fucking find her. That's a brilliant move on the police department's part. And I don't give them much credit for anything on this show, except for every once in a while when they do something right. And they stopped this crazy woman from going out and driving drunk and broadcasting it. I mean, there are people who do all kinds of stupid things. There's like several months ago, beginning of this year, some woman robbed a liquor store or several stores or whatever, and she started putting her pictures up on Facebook showing a shit ton of money and saying, hey, look at all the money I stole. I mean, what is wrong with people nowadays? Do they not realize, hey, I'm committing a crime? Let's broadcast it. No, if you're going to commit a crime, you keep that shit secret. This is why you're on the dumb criminals list. I'm just saying. Connie, your thoughts?
At what point are you so impaired that you forget social media is not private? Florida.
It's Florida.
Florida.
It's not a real state anyway.
Maybe global warming will solve our problem. It's actually scary. Have you seen the maps? What's going to happen to the reclaimed swampland that makes up Florida now? It's like, well, Disney World, I'll probably never get to see you then. I think that's what that tells me.
Yeah.
This video she recorded was 10 minutes long, and I was trying to watch it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot that 10 minutes or more with a drunk person is just way too much time.
Mm-hmm. Even if you're there virtually, it's still too much time.
I know. And at some point she says, drunk driving is not cool. Well, you're a really great PSA there, darling.
Yes.
So, anyway, that's what I gotta say.
Okay. Chris, your thoughts?
How many did she, knock back after this?
After? Most likely before.
Before. Yeah, before. Jeez. I'd need to stop one or what?
What kind of bender was she on? Yeah.
It does. Some women, it depends on their body weight. It all depends on body weight. Let's just say Connie weighs 120 pounds. Just for shits and giggles, because I don't know her actual weight. I'm just throwing it out there. If she weighed 120 pounds, she could only drink X amount of a certain number of beers or wine or whatever. Whereas, because I'm a heavier guy, it would take more for me to become intoxicated with the same number. Or if I drank the same number as she did, it would probably not even affect me or even give me a slight buzz. I would actually have to drink even more. That's the neat thing about alcohol, is that your body weight has a lot to do with how much you can actually drink. And you know what the thing... I don't know why I'm going to share this, but I'm going to share it anyway. When I went to go and get my license, I came really close to failing. Only just the written test. I mean, I had everything else right except for the alcohol part. That was the only part I didn't really pay attention to, that part on the written part, because in Wisconsin, it's a big drinking thing. There's, like I said, we've got bars everywhere. But the reason why I failed on it is because I don't drink. As a general rule, I don't drink. I think if I do drink, it's like once or twice a year, and I stay home. I don't go out driving around after I've been drinking. Plus, the type of license I actually have a lower rate level. Like in Wisconsin, I think it's 0.02. Because of my license, I have 0.0 half of one or something like that. So if I got pulled over, even having a single beer or whatever, they could pull my license like that. And I'm not going to fucking risk my license, my livelihood, I should say, over just to go out and drink.
Wow. You guys should have given me more, opportunities to just skip.
No skipping.
I'm sorry.
You're doing fine, Chris.
You're doing fine, Chris. Just let it out.
Have you used Periscope, Chris, or what do you know about that?
No, I know it's kind of, just an average app for broadcasting, similar to, Vaughn Live or Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's just another name.
I was noticing a lot of people in the video. Did you watch the video at all? I don't know if you did, but people were asking her to flash or something. It was really weird watching the little chat room thing. Oh my God, you just read a stop sign. It's strange to see it in real time. So
yeah.
Do you think she did this on purpose, though? Do you think that she? this is the thing I was wondering, and I don't know if you were watching it, Chris, and thinking this too. Do you think that she got drunk and she was driving purposely drunk to see if she'd get more views?
Oh,
I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah, that's an interesting question.
Yeah.
Because people are social media whores. Some people are, anyway.
Exactly.
And they're just like, hey, look at what I did. I did something that's stupid. I'll post it up on Facebook. I'll get millions of views, and I'll rake in a bunch of money.
Famous and infamous
are
confused.
Yeah.
Constantly. I'm going to be on Funny Home Videos, and it won't matter if I got pulled over by the police because I'm going to make, $10,000 off of this. Or
yeah, exactly.
Did she have any previous? And I didn't even look. I'm kicking myself right now because I don't know where to look on Periscope. I mean, I don't know where else it's posted or if it's just live stream. What other kind of videos did she have out there?
Yeah, I have no idea. I have no idea. I didn't get a chance to watch the video myself. So, but she was.
I could only stand a couple minutes of it. So.
Yeah, she was released on Saturday, this last Saturday, on a $500 bond according to the jail records. So if she was out on a $500 bond, I can almost guarantee.
As if she had a dildo.
She had a dildo. Going back to our first story. The thing is with things like this, with a $500 bond, that's for a drunk driving offense. That's pretty low. Overall, that's pretty low. You don't get a slap on the wrist anymore and then say, okay, go home. Sleep it off and go home. $500 bond is like a first-time offense.
Wow.
So, at least here in Wisconsin anyway. I mean, I could be wrong, but I seriously doubt it because, they try to drill that shit into your head. It's like, if you go to jail for the first time, you're going to pay this much fine. This much fine for the second time. Third time, they pull your license and you pay this X amount of fine. You can get really expensive really fast. What I don't understand is why people go out and do this multiple times. They don't. It's not once, twice, or three times. I've heard of people doing this 6 to 8 times. I'm like, why? Are you got so much money and so little brains that you want to give it all to the government?
There's so many issues.
Yes. Or end up killing somebody? It's just ridiculous. It's just fucking ridiculous.
Just out of control.
Yes.
Blame it on the goose, got you feeling loose. Blame it on the Tron, got you in the zone. Blame it on the alcohol. Blame it on the alcohol. Blame it on the vodka. Blame it on the Henny. Blame it on the blue tag, got you feeling dizzy. Blame it on the alcohol. Blame it on the alcohol.
Up in Alaska, they have a saying, what stays in Alaska never leaves Alaska. No, that's Las Vegas. I get those two places completely confused. No, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. What happens in Alaska is completely not Vegas. A woman up in Anchorage, Nikki Abel, age 35, entered a establishment, Subway, and she was fully clothed. You know where this is going. And she went into the local restroom, not a big deal. But she was in there for 2 hours. I mean, I've had stomach issues every once in a while. I'm not in the bathroom for 2 hours. I can't imagine being in a bathroom for 2 hours. People want to use the restroom. It's there for everybody, not just your sorry ass. But then she came out and started doing a striptease in front of everybody. And thought she was a rock star, apparently, and started trashing the entire restaurant. I mean, there's photographs of the Subway. She knocked over the stuff that was up on the counter, the computer that they used, the checkout, the point of sale, and all tables were overturned. Just total chaos and anarchy. They think that what she was doing was something like Spice. Yeah, it was called Spice. I have no idea what Spice is. When we were reading this story, I said she was using Spice. It's like, isn't that a channel that used to be on Showtime? It was the Spice Channel. I mean,
that's the thing in the movie Dune, right?
Yeah, that's
the book Dune.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, the giant worm.
The giant worm. But apparently, this is some kind of new designer drug out there that is supposed to be "quote unquote" legal because it doesn't have the same properties as marijuana, which is in many states still illegal, but Spice is supposedly legal. It's supposed to do something else, I guess. I don't know. But she was apparently, she has a long history of this. She has an arrest record, and she pleaded no contest to DUI convictions in 2007 and 2009. And I just kind of mentioned that I help out people how they go out and they do stupid shit like DUIs multiple times. There's a perfect example right there. Connie, your thoughts?
Well, I evidently, spice is also called fake weed.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I'm figuring that the difference between fake weed and weed, with weed, you go to Subway because you have the munchies. and with fake weed, you go to Subway to kill the munchies with fire because
fire.
She doesn't just like there's broken boards and broken light fixtures and okay, people, you know, there's fresh feces spread on things in this place. It's just like, okay, you were in the bathroom for 2 hours. You couldn't have taken care of that. It's disgusting. Don't eat at the Subway until they've totally disinfected.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what kind of a grudge this gal has, but
I don't know if it's a grudge. I mean, drugs make people do really stupid things. Torvin from the chat room says, "Isn't it the saying in Alaska? I can see Russia from my house." Just to be clear, Palin never actually said that.
Wait,
damn close.
Sarah Palin?
No, it wasn't Sarah Palin.
Oh, damn it.
I wish it was Sarah Palin or Tipper or whatever her name was.
Like, maybe it's Bristol.
Maybe it was Bristol. Yeah, there it is, Bristol. I was wishing it was kind of Bristol. Like, oh yeah, no, it's not Bristol.
She's really upset about her judging on Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah. Karn 3333 from the chat room said, "For a tree in Alaska falls," and he just stops right there. So. They don't have trees up there. It's all glaciers and snow. No, they have trees up there. I know they have trees. I'm just kidding.
Get very many branches.
Yeah.
Growth season's too short.
Yeah, exactly. I was just completely kidding about the no trees thing there.
I'm sorry. You made a joke and I squashed it.
You squashed my joke. Look how flat you made it.
Okay, I'm going to go now. Bye.
Chris, your thoughts?
This girl and the last girl, Whitney, should like team up and make the ultimate just video. It would get so many views. I mean, she can be on the alcohol. She could do her spice. Perfect double team.
Do a whole Thelma and Louise thing into the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
And we'll put it all on Periscope.
Yes! The ultimate viral video. Thank you, Chris. Oh my gosh. You're brilliant.
And the thing is, and she did this completely naked. I mean, the mind reels. The mind reels. I mean, I imagine why they probably didn't try to stop her is because, you know, if a woman takes off all her clothes and you try touching her, they could cry, say, hey, this man was sexually assaulting me or something, or assaulting me, you know, grabbing me by wherever. You know, I'm just saying that's probably the mental process that was going through her head, or probably the people's head that were there. Like, I don't want to be in that situation where if I have to touch this person to try to stop her from doing this, she's flinging around body parts that I don't normally see out in public. You know, and if I grab her to try to stop her, she's going to say I tried to touch her in some way. And I don't want any of that mess. I mean, that's just my thought on that, of course. She will face felony charges, the police said. She's currently being held in custody in the Anchorage jail. And she's being charged with third-degree criminal mischief, harassment, and resisting arrest. Just saying, this woman, she's got problems. She's got serious problems.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anybody have any last thoughts?
Subway's biggest problem isn't Jared anymore, I guess. Eat fresh.
This is not eating fresh.
No.
You're like a little boob with your bread.
Oh, Packard.
It's a boob sandwich.
The buns are fresh though.
Yeah, the buns are fresh usually. Yeah.
She keeps bending over. I'm sorry.
Oh.
I'm watching the video. Okay.
Not the buns you were expecting to see when you went to Subway.
Nope. The buns rising are not what you would expect to see.
It also makes me wonder if there were guys in there going, this is kind of hot. There was some guy there thinking
she's kind of crazy, but it's very lonely up here in Alaska. Let's wait for her to come out of the store. Get her number.
Get her number. I want her number. She seems like she likes to party.
Yeah. Winters are long in Alaska.
Winters are very long in Alaska.
Our furniture's all unbreakable.
It can work.
Karen 3333 from the chat room said, a drunk woman causing ruckus is no different than a woman who joins a wrestling team. What you have to touch isn't sexual assault. I understand that, but I'm just saying, but you're not out there wrestling, because wrestling you'd have, accoutrements on, and there are set rules. You're already, and you know what you're doing. You know where you're going to be touching, and it's usually ladies touching ladies. You don't have guys and women wrestling. If you do, then that's a porno. I'm just saying.
He wants to set this video to yakety sax.
Yeah, to yakety sax. Yeah, to the Benny Hill music. Yeah, I saw that in the chat room there from him as well. That's funny.
Yep.
And tonight's funny tweet, we haven't had one of these in a while because nobody commented on the last show. So you need to get out there and comment on the show, and we'll put your comment up here on the air. Our funny tweet for tonight comes from Schizoza.
Schizoette.
That's Skitzoette, and she says, never confuse a colostomy bag with a whoopee cushion. Totally ruined Grandpa's 90th birthday. Yeah, that's... I remember seeing something like that in Cracked magazine, I think. I'm just Don't sit next down to Grandpa. Just saying. Just saying.
Comedy is all about timing.
Yes, it is. Anyone have any thoughts on this before we go?
Ew.
I'm just glad that woman at the Subway didn't have the colostomy bag. That'd have been
Oh, God.
That'd have been terrible.
You want a special sauce on your 5 foot long.
Oh, no, that's a sauce I don't want.
I went too far, I'm sorry.
Chris is over there gagging now.
Yep. It says a lot about my sense of humor that I couldn't stop laughing about that.
We found that she just like, I keep going back to this one.
I was like, I got this one. Please, let's pick this one. Poop is funny.
Poop is funny unless it's coming towards you.
Bodily functions are funny.
Not completely off topic here, but every time I talk about people talk about poop and whatnot, I always think about that one scene from Airplane where they say, shit's going to hit the fan, and someone looks like they're showing shit at a fan, and it's like, and the fan like tries to spray it back out, but it's like, it's too thick, I can't move. So I'm just
oh, goodness.
Anyway, all right, well, we're going to get out of here. I want to thank everybody for coming. I want to thank Chris for filling in, and Connie, as always, for helping put the show together and get the show out for everybody tonight. And we'll be back next week with our short show. The last week, no, is it the last week? Next week?
Next week is another short show.
Okay.
And because Yeah, next week is like the 24th.
Okay.
And then the 30th is our discussion.
Okay, then that would be the long show for the last, yeah, okay. Long show night. The month's got me all screwed up because we've been doing so many long shows, short shows on the long show on the short show nights. So, whatever. But anyway, the what I was trying to reach there is that we're going to be, instead of having a discussion topic, we're going to do like a Halloween section, you know, we're going to talk about Halloween and spooky stories and whatnot. If you have a spooky story you've written for yourself or you want us to read it on the air, and we'll do that. And we would be happy to have it. Or if you know of one that you personally knew about when growing up, scared the shit out of you, if it's kind of short, we'd be happy to take that submission. Email it to me at ppapodcast@gmail.com, and we'll read it here on the air. Or if you know of some other stories, link us the stories. Either way, we'd love to read them, and we'll discuss Halloween as well. So, and some weird stuff on that night for that night. So, but the show won't be out until November the 2nd or so. Halloween's coming late this year. So on time if you're out the live show, but so you need to come to the live show if you want to actually, you know, participate in that. Well, you can call in and participate too. So, all right. Well, see you next week. This has been Packard Pokes that we just poked at your news.
And that's a wrap.